All right, talking about Canada, but in terms of politically speaking, what is happening? Because the country is heading to the polls today in a high-stakes federal election that could reshape the country's future and, of course, its relationship with the increasingly hostile United States. And the snap election comes just weeks after Carney replaced Justin Trudeau as Liberal leader and as the Canadian Prime Minister, with voters facing economic anxiety, rising costs of living, and an escalating trade war with the US. But how does the Prime Minister polling in the land of the maple leaf work? Well, Canada's first past-the-post system means that the party with the most seats will likely form the next government, but not necessarily the one with a majority. A minority government, however, also remains a strong possibility this time as the race tightens. But before we dive deeper into the issues, let's take a closer look at the leading candidates in the prime ministerial race.
Canadians are always ready when somebody else crosses the place. And what the Americans...
Canada heads to the polls on April 28, 2025. In the race for Prime Minister, Liberal Mark Carney, Conservative Pierre Poilievre, Bloc Québécoise's Yves-François Blanchet and New Democratic Party's Jagmeet Singh are vying for voter support.
So when we fight back against Donald Trump, we got to fight back by defending.
Mark Carney, former Bank of England governor and the first non-British head of the central bank, was elected Canada's Prime Minister in March 2025, succeeding Justin Trudeau. Despite lacking political experience, Carney secured the Liberal leadership, focusing on environmental issues, criticizing Trump, and proposing a range of domestic policies. At 45, Pierre Poilievre leads the Conservative Party with a strong base and packed rallies. Once a young advocate for low taxes and small government, he now focuses on tackling recession, housing, and affordability, riding high in the polls. Yves-François Blanchet leads the Bloc Québécoise for a third term, championing Quebec's sovereignty. Since 2019, he has revitalized the party in Parliament, prioritizing Quebec's distinct identity. Jagmeet Singh, Canada's first ethnic minority leader of a major federal party, has led the New Democratic Party since 2017. A former Ontario legislator, Singh won his first parliamentary seat in 2019 and campaigns on student loan forgiveness, climate action, and universal drug coverage. As the Canadian election race heats up, the four key leaders campaign for the top spot. Voters face a critical decision, with each leader presenting distinct plans for the economy, environment, and community development.
Plagued by economic instability, rising costs and housing affordability, Canadians head to the polls today to decide the nation's future. Alongside these, climate change and the rising tensions with the United States, like we pointed out, over trade and tariffs, have also been major concerns. Now, as Canadians cast their ballots, let's take a closer look at the key issues shaping this election.
Canada will hold an election on April 28 amid escalating tensions with the United States and domestic concerns over economic stability, cost of living, housing affordability, and climate policy. These issues have become central to the national conversation as voters prepare to cast their ballots. Canada's economy could sway voters this election as rising inflation and global uncertainties strain household budgets and fuel debates over fiscal policy. Housing affordability remains a major concern, with high demand, limited supply, and rising prices sparking calls for more construction and policy reforms. The rising cost of living, from food to healthcare and education, is a growing issue, fueling debates on improving public services and easing household strain. Climate change and energy policies are central to the election, with debates over balancing environmental goals, economic growth, and the shift to renewables. Migration policy has also come to the forefront, driven by labor shortages, border management and integration concerns, with discussions focusing on balancing economic needs, border security and cultural integration. In addition, Canada-US relations under the Trump administration have become a major issue. Tensions have risen due to the US trade war and Trump's threats of annexation. Tariffs on Canadian exports have fueled concerns over economic sovereignty and the need for strategic responses. As the election approaches, political parties are ramping up their campaigns, focusing on key issues to sway undecided voters. Public rallies, debates, and media appearances are being used to address concerns and offer solutions. Canadians head to the polls on April 28th.